Let's do a Q&A. It's been like a year since we did one, and some of you had questions, unquenchable questions, and I'm gonna answer them today. Just a disclaimer, I'm sick. I'm quite sick. I have the most awful cough, and I've been sick for like close to a month now. And it hasn't been the same sickness, which is the most annoying thing ever. I've had a stomach flu, and then I had the flu, and now I have a different kind of flu, I guess. So I'm sorry if I feel or seem low energy. It's because I am. All right, let's get to your questions though. I'm gonna start with the ones from Patreon. Jeffrey Brown, loved all your original music you've been doing. Any more soon? No pressure, you're excellent. Indeed, there is a lot more coming. So far, we have released Only Holy Water and DTP. The music videos are available on YouTube now, and it's available everywhere if you want to stream it if you haven't already. And this is the announcement that on July 18th, we're going to release our third original single, Clutter as a Throne, and here's the cover. I feel like I've been talking about this song for the longest time. If you watch our last Q&A that we did like a year ago, I keep saying third single, third single, third single, and we're here finally. This is the third single. And I couldn't be more excited because this is my favorite song off of the album. This is the type of music that I've always wanted to make. It's the combination of everything that I love, and there is a live orchestra in the song, which is the most epic thing ever. So, July 18th. And if you're watching this months or years from now, I'm gonna leave the link to the song down below in the description and the pre-save if you're watching this in the present, okay? Please pre-save the song. Please pre-save the song. Osa and Beth Fitch. Hi Violet, in your Tarot/Blood Milk and Sky mashup video, what story was the video sequence trying to tell? Old School Nerd reviewed the video and told a story of a baby wild animal being born in the woods, which makes sense until we get to the shovel. What was the shovel sequence all about? So Rick and I had this idea of telling this story about this creature from hell that finds itself in the middle of the woods on Earth, and it's kind of distressed, and it feels the looming presence of the sun, which burns it, and this creature is trying as hard as it can to find shade and to go back to the underworld. And then towards the end of the video, I finally find a shovel, and I even dig with my hands this massive hole that I jump into. And that's me returning to hell. Jeffrey Lowe, what movie would you be willing to compose music for? Any. I'm a total slut when it comes to this. Anything at all. Even a rom-com. Even a movie that I wouldn't be super proud of making music for, I would be totally down to making anything. Of course, if I'm being excuse me. If I'm being picky, I would love to make music for horror movies. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I would feel if I got the opportunity to write music for a horror movie, or kind of even better, if a horror movie was released with one of our original songs in it as part of the soundtrack. Oh my god. Another question from Osa. Hi Violet, it looks like you have a tattoo on your left forearm that is a circle with a TM or FM inside it, and it looks like you've had it for a while. Is there a story about this tattoo? Did you have it yourself trademarked? Are you really into FM radio? Is it someone's initials? Inquiring minds want to know. So they're asking about this tattoo right here. It's FM, and I got it when I was living in London. My roommate did it, this lovely Italian girl. She was studying to become a tattoo artist. So it's not the best tattoo that I've ever gotten, but it's very special because it's my mom's initials, and I got it like the same week, I think, that I got the news that she had cancer, and I just wanted to surprise her with something sweet and in the moment. And she really liked it, so I'm proud of it. Marky63, assuming that God and the devil exist, what one question would you ask God, and what one question would you ask Lucifer? This is very deep. Rick and I just started listening to the Bible. We're following the Bible in a Year program, and every day we listen to a little bit of it. So we've been we've been having conversations about religion, about God. I don't know, man. I don't know what I would ask God. Like, I ask myself this often. I ask myself, how can I open myself to the possibility of God? Because that would be super cool. I love the idea of being fully committed and actually believing in God, because I see so much value in it. But I spent my whole life as an atheist, and I just don't know exactly how to do it. So we just started at least researching a little bit about it and actually reading the Bible and going through the biblical teachings to see what value we can find in it. Like, I would love to ask God, like, how can I, if I wasn't standing here right in front of you, how would I be able to believe in you? And what would I ask the devil? I don't know. If I mean to be funny, I would ask the devil, what is the movie that closest resembles you?
That's a good
one. And or I would ask, is it preferable to you that God didn't exist? Or do you also see value in God's presence? Rick likes this idea of asking both of them the same kind of question, asking God if there is value in the presence of the devil, and asking the devil if he sees value in the presence of God, or if it would be preferable that only one of them exists in their opinion. Kenneth, if you could remake a classic horror film, which of the following would you remake? Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, or The Creature from the Black Lagoon? Okay, let's analyze this though, because Dracula already has pretty good movies about it. Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of my favorite movies, and I feel like that's a pretty decent making of the story. Frankenstein, it doesn't have an amazing movie. The Mummy is a classic, so I wouldn't touch that at all. The Wolfman doesn't have anything, and Creature from the Black Lagoon, it kinda has the water, the shape of water. So I think I would remake The Wolfman because it deserves it. We watched the original one recently, and it's very old, and it could use a remake. It's one of those movies that it's due for a remake. The way that it ends, it's a little bit disappointing, so we could do it better. Another one from Marky63. Which new language would you like to learn? And you can include alien languages like Klingon and Swiftian. Swiftian? What is that? I would absolutely not learn a made-up language like Klingon or Swiftian. I would love to learn, though, German and French. I went through an intensive course of French back in the day, but I forgot everything that I learned. But I would love to learn some German. Rick speaks German. Ja.
Ja.
Sehr gut, ja. What?
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. Wunderbar. Wunderbar. Another question from Marky63. So, more seriously, if you were to write a screenplay for a movie, 1, what genre would it be? 2, color or black and white? 3, would you choose to play the heroine or anti-heroine? 4, in 5 sentences, describe the plot. 5, what role would you cast Rick in? I have this really crazy idea for a horror movie. The cast would be just 2 people, so Rick and me. He would be driving the car. We would be going in a road trip together. And then here comes a tunnel. One of those with the yellow lights. And it's a pretty long tunnel. But we're caught up in our conversation. And then some time passes. And we realize that it's been a minute since we've been driving through this tunnel. And we haven't made it to the other side yet. And that's the movie. We went into this tunnel. And it's infinite. And we're trying to decide, should we keep driving to reach the end? Should we go back? And then we try going back, and then we can't find the exit. There are no other cars. At some point, we stop the car and we get out of it, and then we start getting into a fight, and then all of this trauma between the two of us arises, and then we start going through our problems, and then I don't know what happens. And then somehow we have to make through this tunnel. I don't know what's the thing that would make us find the exit, but I'd make that movie. Topanga. What is the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten? Also, what is your favorite painting of all time? This right here is the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. This is a Swedish bastard. This is a gift that the lovely Jasper sent us. Jasper has been a longtime patron of ours, and he sent us a box of goodies from Sweden. And one of the things that he sent was this. It's a fancy candy. It's a fancy candy. It's a salty licorice. But let me tell you, no. No. This thing is the most dangerous thing I've ever encountered. When we tried for the first time, we didn't know what it was, so I had half of a piece and Rick had the whole thing. And I had heart palpitations afterwards, and he was sick. It's an unforgettable experience, so I would recommend you try this at least. But that's it. One bite and goodbye. Now, if you're wondering why this is empty, it's because we decided that this is the new tax of the studio. So every new person that comes in here has to take a bite of this. And what is your favorite painting of all time? Oh, geez. I feel like someone asked me this before and I totally answered it, but I don't know anymore. But I really like this painting right here, and it's by an artist called, I'm sorry if I'm gonna butcher the name, Shu Jin. That's the screensaver of our computer here at the studio, and I'm obsessed with this painting. I love looking at it all day, every day. Whenever we're listening to mixes, I just stare at that screensaver and I love it. I really love all of his work. You guys should definitely check it out. He has some crazy surrealist paintings. That's really cool. What is your favorite Taylor Swift track? I'm so happy you guys want to know this. This is my favorite Taylor Swift song. Dana, do you like techno music? No, I despise every music you might hear at a club. Like the type of music that you feel it in your heartbeat, like right here, you know? I hate it. Hate it. Gives me anxiety. Doesn't make me want to move my body or my head, nothing. It just feels like I can't breathe. Like, no. However, there is this, I don't know if you'd call it techno music, but there is this Russian duo called I Speak, and they make some really cool electronic music. We were supposed to see them live, but we forgot about it, and then we just didn't go. But you guys should definitely check them out. They're really fucking cool. Jeez Louise. All right. Those were all the questions from Patreon. Now on to YouTube. If you could live with any fictional character as your roommate, who would you want? I thought about this, and I know exactly who I would want to live with. And it's the closet vampire from What We Do in the Shadows. Do you remember his name? Peter? Peter. I'd love to live with Peter. It would be basically like living alone, but then from time to time, I'd be able to show a person like, hey, look at this. Isn't it cool? Okay, goodbye. What's the current earworm you can't get out of your head? It's Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter. But it has to be accompanied by the music video because I really appreciate how she took inspiration from the Goodfellas and other 80s mafia movies. I really like the vibe of that. Did I say other 80s movies as if Goodfellas was made in the 80s? But it wasn't, right? It was in the 90s?
I think it's 1990.
1990. What advice can you give to vocal newbies? To me, the most important thing when it comes to any artist, but especially a singer, is whether the audience believes in what they're singing or not. It's not just about, but it's mainly about your delivery. Because there are plenty of shitty singers out there that were able to make a name for themselves. Like, Bob Dylan was a shitty singer. He didn't have a good voice, but like all of his amazing lyrics aside, when you listen to him singing, you truly believe in what he's saying. The worst thing for me is whenever I listen to someone, no matter how technically good they are, and you just don't buy it. You don't buy it. There is something in there that's not convincing. So the best thing you could do to start off is just connect to whatever it is that you're saying and then mean it. And then you can go on and practice your la-da-dees, your la-da-das, your exercises, your breath work, like, and you'll be fine. But just believe in what you're saying. 2 questions for you. What is your musical guilty pleasure? Okay, you are known for your love of alternative slash rock slash metal, but outside of those, what do you love that could be seen as a bit cheesy or at odds with your normal vibe? And what is your latest band t-shirts? It's been a while since you've shown those off. So, I'm not a fan of the term guilty pleasure unless it's being used to describe a song that you truly think is technically bad, but you still enjoy it. When it comes to songs that are outside of your genre, I cannot believe that those are guilty pleasures because you have to stand by your choices. So, a song that's outside of my genre realm would be like Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter. And even Espresso. I really like both of those songs. And a song that is truly a guilty pleasure because I believe that is just plain bad is from Halloween, one of my all time favorite bands. They have this song called Mrs. God, and it's really bad. Sasha, if for any reason you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but I have to be honest, it's really bad. Like, the hook is really bad and annoying. The lyrics are god awful, but for some reason, whenever it comes on, I can't help but. You know? And band t-shirts. So I haven't purchased any new band t-shirts, but the new band t-shirts we acquired recently is our own merch. Look at this lovely selection of t-shirts and hoodies that are totally available for purchase in the link in the description below. And for every original song that we release, there is also a brand new piece of merch. So this is Only Holy Waters merch, and this is DTP. Nobody bought the DTP t-shirt just because it's green, but I stand by my choice. This t-shirt has to be green and it can't exist in black. And pretty soon you're also gonna get the Clitter is a Throne merch. Have you always had a low singing voice, or did it start in a higher range and gradually dropped into a lower register the older you became? I think it dropped. I definitely think it dropped. If you go back to my early channel, I sound like a teenager. Now I sound a little bit more like this just because I'm sick. And I think it was also a stylistic choice. We tend to prefer songs that make my voice sound lower, that sit in that lower register. But yeah, the puberty, man. What was your favorite Marilyn Manson era? I don't have so much a favorite Manson era. I just love more the fact that he does have eras to begin with. Now he's going through this semi-cowboy era, which I'm loving. And so many artists are very constant. They do the same thing over and over again. Not to say that is not valid or boring, no, not anything. But for a cute example, whenever Rick and I go to a restaurant, we always order different things because then I'll have half of mine and half of his, and he will have half of mine and half of his. And we always ask ourselves which one was our favorite. And it's not so much which one we liked the best, it's just the change that was the coolest thing. Same thing with Marilyn Manson. Any chances to visit Russia? There are a lot of your listeners here. So we don't have any plans to visit Russia, but I would love to go to Russia. And I know that recently there has been an influx of Russian listeners to our channel, which I'm super grateful for. But no, I don't know when we would be able to go to Russia, but I would absolutely love to. And again, listen to I Speak. Listen to I Speak. Any chance to start singing your own music? You have only covers? Where have you been, my man? Listen to Only Holy Water. And then listen to DTP. Excuse me. Are you planning to make any more original songs? Yes. There is a full album in the making, which is 10 songs. And the third one is coming right now on July 18th. July 18th. July 18th. July 18th. How can I get a private conversation? So recently we introduced this new tier on Patreon called FaceTime, which, as you might guess, gives you the right to call me on FaceTime every month. I do this with loads of people on Patreon, and it's really cool being able to connect face to face because it takes people out of the comment section and they become a full-fledged person in front of me, and it's so special to see that connection happening. And apart from the FaceTime call, the tier also includes every other reward that we have in our Patreon, which includes private video messages and exclusive vlogs, signed posters, and another really cool thing, it gets your name into our album and our original music videos. If you've seen our original music videos, you see that there's a massive list of supporters at the end, and that can be your name too. You can get your name into our album, and I think that's really cool. I would totally do that. So, please check it out if you can. If you want, I'll leave the link in the description below. No pressure. Do you still admire Jordan Peterson? Yes, I do. Rick and I are big fans of Jordan Peterson. The other day, we actually went to see him live. We saw one of his lectures live, and we also got to see Tammy, and that was so special. I didn't think I was going to feel emotional at all, but so many times throughout his lecture, I felt water in my eyes because I was so glad to see him in person. And the things that he was talking about were so valuable. He talked about the story of Cain and Abel and how that applies in our lives today in a political matter. And that was the coolest thing. And afterwards, he did a Q&A with Tammy. And Tammy just has this soothing, huge presence. Yeah, I totally recommend Jordan Peterson. Would you collaborate with a modern artist like Amy Lee, David Draymond, etc.? Which one and what kind of music would you make? Well, what kind of music would I make? Well, definitely an original song with them would be the dream, right? And I'm not saying I wouldn't want to collab with David Draymond or Amy Lee, but if I have to choose, those wouldn't be my first picks. Like, of course, I would absolutely love to do a song with Marilyn Manson, like a feature with Marilyn Manson. Can you believe? I would love to do something with, I don't know, Meg Myers. Jeez. I would love to do something with Crosses. Deftones, of course, but Crosses would, to me, would sound even cooler. I don't even know who else, but absolutely. David Draymond, call me. Do you plan to tour after your album release, maybe in Europe? So as we always say, we don't have any plans, only intentions. It would be really, really cool to take this album into a live setting and tour Europe with it. That would be really, really cool. If you could have a useful but not particularly exciting superpower, for example, the strength of 2 people, or the ability to instantly make the temperature of any room to your preferred temperature, what would it be? My superpower would be to snap my fingers and have the dishes washed. It's like, clean. Done. If you could step into a painting and live in that world for one day, which one would you choose and why? I think I'd have to bring back my answer from earlier and step into the world of this painting from Shujin, because I really like paintings with a question, with a mystery. And not only in this painting, but often he leaves the action happening outside of the frame, so you don't know what people in the painting are reacting to. So I would love to step into that world to actually see what the hell is happening. Where is all that blood coming from? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Klondike bar? The fuck is a Klondike bar? Nah, just kidding. Who's your favorite character of all time in a book, show, or movie? I don't know who's my favorite. Favorite questions are always tricky because I always get indecisive because there is so much to choose from. But just to be relevant to the moment, I just finished reading To Kill a Mockingbird. And what an amazing book that is. Jesus, it's almost like the Bible. It has so many teachings in it. It goes through so many issues that are present in your life, in everybody's life. But that book has the best father figure in history. Atticus. He's like the best human being ever. And he's doing such a good job with those kids. And he's such a good lawyer and he has such good morals. And I love his presence. Even though it can be a little bit one-dimensional because he is so good. Where's the flaw? But I really like Atticus and I miss him because I finished the book and he's not in my life anymore. When are you giving your dad grandchildren? Well, This is a great opportunity for me to finally tell you guys that I'm not pregnant. We want to have kids, but not right now. Yeah, we're planning on having goats first, and only after we can have a couple of kids. But first, goats and maybe a cow.
The apartment?
And sheep. No, we want to move to a farm. We're going to move to a farm, and then we're going to buy a couple of goats, some sheep, and then maybe a cow, and then the kid can come right at the time that the cow arrives. Or even a little bit before. When you finally take over the world, what will your first course of action be? I would ban motorcycles in big cities. No, I would ban motorcycles in the whole world. Yeah, no more motorcycles. Capital punishment to whoever drives a motorcycle, especially in specific hours of the day. In the middle of the night, yeah, capital punishment. At like business hours, just a huge, huge fine. Like $5,000 because you drove down the street with your disgusting motorcycle noise. You're welcome. What is love and how would you describe it? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Love to me is caring and attention and sacrifice. Wow. Yeah. Love is such a big thing. Love is not just a nice feeling. Is an action. Love is a verb. Love is a doing word. That is true. Love is not liking someone. Love is an active exercise. I'll pray for you. Thank you. Back in the day, I would be kind of pissed off at this comment, like, what do you mean you'll pray for me? But now I'm like, thank you. I would say I would pray for you too, but I'm still learning how to pray. So when I learn how to pray, I'll pray for you back. Okay? That's my commitment. All right. Now on to the questions from Instagram. Sorry. Got some coconut water right here. What's your creative process when it comes to writing your songs? As you guys know, I went to university to study songwriting, so my mind is very much driven by tasks. So more often than not, when I sit down to write a song, I give myself a task. So it might be, today, I'm going to write a song that's fast-paced. Or today, I'm going to write something that is sad and it's a ballad. And that makes the world of possibilities smaller, which I find very useful when it comes to creating something because it can be so daunting to have all of the possibilities available to you at once. So decide on a mood at least. Sometimes I'll even put on a movie that I know it's going to invoke the right emotion that I want to bring to that song. So then I just sit down with my guitar and I'll just start randomly strumming and humming. And whenever I hear something interesting pairing together, I'll loop it, and then I'll play it over and over again until the loop gets longer and longer and bigger. And then sometimes the humming turns into words, or sometimes I'll hum the entire song, and then I'll say, okay, this is the song. Now I can put the guitar aside, grab my notebook, and then write the lyrics. Most of the times, that's how it works. Now, this is a loaded question. What's the best and worst part about living in Brazil? All right, so Rick and I, we have similar thoughts when it comes to this. The best thing about living in Brazil to us is that we're close to friends and family, of course. I really like the weather. I'm very grateful that we don't experience the wrath of Mother Nature like some other places do. We don't have hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes. And we have some pretty lovely fresh fruit, which is always nice. However, there are enough downsides to make us want to move in a couple of years. We don't feel connected to the culture in any particular way, and we're very grateful to have been here for so long, but we're planning to move somewhere else. What is your position on the influence TikTok is having on music? LYYA is here, and she works very closely with TikTokers in music, and you can add to this if you want. TikTok really changed music and the music scene because I feel like when you look at the top 10 chart, it really tells you that people are not really listening to music anymore. They're more, what they're doing is that they're using music as soundtracks for their TikToks. Music has now become a tool for people to use to create further content with it.
Yeah, but I have to discover some good artists that I think wouldn't have the chance to be out in the world if it wasn't for TikTok.
Yeah, that's true. The way the TikTok app works is really, it's really genius in some ways because it gives the algorithm total control over your feed. Because on Instagram, you follow people and that's what you see in your feed. On TikTok, you don't have to follow anybody. The feed will be there for you automatically. It is true that lots of people who wouldn't get discovered in other apps got discovered through TikTok because of this automatic feed that just appears in front of you. And that is really cool. Now, every other app is trying to do what TikTok did. Instagram has Reels, YouTube has Shorts, because now people are more focused on scrolling than actually subscribing to a channel. I think subscribing is a little bit past. It's not really relevant anymore. I think it's all about the feed now.
But still subscribe.
But still, please subscribe, like this video, subscribe.
Watch the whole video.
Watch the whole video. Watch the whole video. This video you're watching right now, watch it in its entirety. Click subscribe, click like. I tell you what to do, okay?
Not TikTok.
Not TikTok.
Not TikTok, not the algorithm. It's not the algorithm that's your boss. I'm your boss, and I'm telling you what to do. Not looking for any names, but is there someone that you regret to have collaborated with on a song? No. No regrets at all, but there are a couple of people in there that I wouldn't work with again. Precisely because of the way they behaved, either throughout the making of the thing or afterwards. Obviously, I'm not going to name any names, but when you work with so many people, it's a given that you're going to encounter some people that don't really align with you. And I'm grateful for having met so few people that I wouldn't work with again, but those two people, I'm not going to work with you again. What did you use for all the blood? Was it colored syrup, animal blood, human sacrifices? Now, he's referring to the Tarot music video. So we bought like a gallon of fake blood from this makeup artist who had worked with us plenty of times before. When we got there and I started pouring all of the syrup on top of me, we realized that it wasn't really sticking to my skin. It was kind of trickling down onto the floor. And we were desperate because we were in the middle of nowhere. It was the weekend, so every store was closed. But as it happened, we were at our friend's house at this farm that they had. Our friend's parents, they're bakers, so they had plenty of eggs and plenty of flour. So the only thing we could think of doing was mixing the fake blood with the eggs and the flour and sort of turn it into a batter that I could slather on and make it really stick, which sounds gross, and it is. But in hindsight, it was the thing that saved me because I didn't get sunburned at all. As strong as the sun was on that day, it was super hot. I was totally fine. And the only downside to having that mixture on me is that I became a huge bug trap. So every bug in the forest was being trapped onto my body. And that was not nice, especially if they were ants, because if they were trapped onto my body, they would start biting. And that was the worst. But yeah, so it was a mixture of fake blood, which was basically sugar syrup and food coloring, eggs, and flour. What was harder to clean off, the blood or the black stuff? Now, the black stuff, he's referring to our music video for Owner of a Lonely Heart. I took longer in the shower for the red stuff because the mixture was really, really thick. However, the black stuff, it was quicker to wash off, but it really stained our skin. So for a couple of days there, Rick and I looked gray. All of the band members, they kind of looked gray for a couple of days there. That was really annoying. Sorry. The next question. How do you feel? Pretty rough, Mason. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I've been collecting diseases as if they were, what do the kids say, Pokemon? Pokemon cards? Cards? Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. What is your dream guitar? brand, model, and color. Now, I appreciate this question because you think I'm a guitar player, which I'm not. But if I had to pick an acoustic guitar to have, I really, really want a Taylor, a baby Taylor, because now that we have the studio, all of our instruments are here, so I really want an acoustic guitar to be in our house, available to me to write songs whenever I want, and a baby Taylor is so comfy to like pick it up. My Martin is way larger, so it's a little bit heavier. But recently, I discovered that there is this electric guitar that is filled with water and oil, and it looks sick. I show this to our friends and they think it looks absolutely disgusting, but I think it's such a cool idea, and it's such a like a 90s aesthetics. Like, look at this. When you play, the water wiggles around with the oil. I think it looks absolutely awesome. If I were a guitar player, that's the guitar that I would have. What is it like to have your own studio? It's sick. It's so freaking cool. It's the physical presence of a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort, and the best thing ever is that we can absolutely destroy this space as much as we want whenever we're shooting something a little bit more complex, and then get to the end of shooting, say, that's it, we're going home. We don't have to tidy up, we don't have to do anything. We're the owners, we're the bosses, so we can do whatever we want. The first day that this place was ready, it was the day that we had to shoot our music video for Bitches Brew by Crosses. And as owners of the studio, we felt confident enough to fill this space with candle holders and a bunch of lit candles on top of them. And this studio has a pretty low ceiling and it's all fabric. So we were at risk of burning the place down or at least damaging the fabric. But as owners, we felt inclined to do so because we were the ones to pay the price, so hey, why not, right? Throughout the shooting, it was funny because Rick had to keep putting his hand on top of the candle to see if the flame was getting hot enough to burn the fabric, but it didn't, and it was totally fine. What was like singing Best of You? It felt as if you were testing the limits of your vocal range. It was gold. It was really fun singing something that it was outside of my comfort zone. I was not testing the limits of my vocal range as much as I was testing the limits to my vocal distortion, but oh my god, people really didn't like that video for some reason. I don't know why. I really liked it and I was really proud of the way that it turned out, but for some reason, a group of people in there really didn't like it. But go watch it. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment on that video telling me that you came from this Q&A and give me your honest review. I think it sounds sick. Is that it?
Yes.
So these were all the questions we had selected. Thank you so much for sending your questions. I really appreciate you guys. And I really appreciate everything you've done for us. I really hope you're excited for the original songs that we're about to release. Clutter as a Throne. Listen to Clutter as a Throne. Please, please, please. There is the official release coming, and there's also an acoustic version coming. I hope you really like it. I don't know when you will be watching this video, but again, pre-save link in the description, link to the music video in the description, link to the actual song in the description. I don't know. I think that's it. Check out our Patreon if you want more of this. Maybe call me on FaceTime. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you watched till the end, leave a comment that says, is it the Black Plague? And I'll like it. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.